Hello and welcome to the channel. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this detailed corset dress with a draping at the bust and at the shoulder. So if it's something you like, please stick to the end of the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. Let's dive right into today's video. So here is my pattern. I have cut out the yoke and this is the body. I placed it together to cut out. So while I was cutting out, I also cut out the lining, and for the lining I'm using the doll face that I'm using the line to line the skirts as my lining, so that when I'm done sewing, the inner part will have the same color or lining inside. So now this is a doll face fabric. So looking at what we have at the thumbnail is actually a transparent corset, but I cannot really wear a transparent corset, so you can go ahead and use a doll face to line yours, or you can go ahead and use a skin colored crepe. So for me, I'm making use of what I have at home. So I have this doll face that is going to match the lace I have, so I'm going to go ahead and use it to line it. Now the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to go ahead and work on the body of the corset before working on the cup. Now I will be creating boning channels on it on top of this doll face. So if the fabric you're working with is too light, you can go ahead and iron stay on it. And before I go ahead and create these boning channels on it, I'm also going to iron it out to make it more smooth. So you can also iron stay on it. So I'll be creating about 5 boning channel, 2 at the side and 1 at the center. You can go ahead and create more if you want to. So now this is the pieces of fabric that I cut out, which is the color of the lining I'm using for the skirt. I'll place and run a stitch, turn it over, and I'll fold and top stitch on it. So after top stitching on it, I'll go ahead and create another one for this side. So depending on the size of boning you're using, is going to determine the size of your boning casing. So what I'm using is, the boning is a little small, that's the smaller size of the boning, so that's why I'm creating a smaller boning channel. So I'll go over to the sewing machine and I'll create as many boning channels that I need for this dress. So after this, I'll go ahead and also work on my cup. So this is the cup that I have. This is cup A and cup B, sorry. So for both the lining and the main fabric that will be on top of the dress, I'm using a doll face satin to do that, because the lining under the corset is also a doll face. So when I'm making a corset with lace, I always use a doll face for the lining. So now I'm going to go ahead to join my cup. This is my cup A and I'm going to open it. So after opening it, I'm going to bring out my cup B, and this is my cup B. I'm going to place. So make sure that you place your cup in order, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch and I'm going to stitch it up. So whatever I do for this, I'm going to go ahead and also do it for my lining. So next, we are going to be creating a 3 inches dart intake for the cup. This is so that the cup will fit in very well. So my bust is bust 33.5 and the size of the cup I'm using is 36. So by the time I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead and place and I'll stitch with 1/2 inch round for my cup. So I'm done stitching my cup and this is what I have. Now I'm going to go ahead to pin it. So there are several ways to attach your cup to your main fabric. You can go ahead and use a hemming gun, which I've used in one of my videos. Now also on your fabric, you can also iron stay on the main fabric also, or you can just work on it that way. But the perfect way is just to go ahead and iron stay if you're going to have issues with it, to make it more stable. So after pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch and make sure that the space you have at both sides is equal, so that when you're stitching it, you're not going to have too much space at one side. So I'll go over and stitch with 1/2 inch, and I'll also repeat this for the other side of the cup. And on my lining piece, I'm going to iron gum stay on it, and I'm also going to join it. So I'm done creating the boning channel. I'll be placing this skin net on it. This is just to give it a skin effect. There is nothing much to this, and especially if you're using a crepe, this is very helpful. You can go ahead and double it, but since I'm using a doll face, I'm just going to place it once and I'm going to trace out. After I'm done tracing out, I'll also trace out the cup area and use a pin to hold it down so that it's not going to shift, because you're going to actually go ahead to top stitch this. And before you top stitch, please go ahead and pass your boning through your boning channel, and you're going to be leaving 1/2 inch under it, like at the lower part of this. So just like I said, you're going to top stitch, and remember to pass your boning channel, because after top stitching the mesh, you can't pass your boning channel. Now I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to notch. So next, you want to go ahead and join your cup to your fabric. So this is my cup after I'm done stitching. Now I'll place the center of the cup, that is the joining to the part I notched, and I'll go ahead to place it. As you can see that mine is meeting, so if yours is not meeting, that is not an issue. Go ahead to notch the body of the cup, and I'll go ahead to place this way, and I'll pin on this side. And after pinning it, this is what I have. I'll repeat the same process for the other side and stitch with 1/2 inch. So I've attached the other side of the cup, and this is what I have. So when I was stop stitching the mesh, I left the lower part open so that I can go ahead to pass my boning. So after passing my boning, at the upper part where your cup will sit, go ahead and leave about 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch below, because you'll be joining your cup and you'll be joining a fabric at the lower part. After I'm done joining, this is what I have, and the next step is to go ahead to join your yoke to this dress. So this is the yoke part. I'm going to go ahead to unpin it and I'll open it up. So I opened it up and I added 1/2 inch on the neckline of the dress, on the lower part of the dress this way, and at the armhole. So you're going to go ahead and stitch at the neckline, and you're going to stitch also at the armhole, and you're going to go ahead to trim it off. So I've gone ahead to do so, and I'll just go ahead to trim out the armhole area of this dress and the neckline of the dress. So after that, you're going to go ahead to join. So to join, you're going to place it this way, and you're going to work with your pin to make it more easier for you to join. So go ahead and pin from this part to the other side. So after I'm done pinning, I'm going to go ahead and I will stitch with 1/2 inch on the neckline. So after I'm done stitching with 1/2 inch, this is it, and this is what it is looking like. So now I'm going to go ahead to bring the other side of this dress, which is the lining part of this dress, and I went ahead to join my lining just the same way I joined my fabric. The only difference is that I ironed a gum stay to the lining of this dress. Now we are going to use the lining to turn the dress. So to do that, I'm going to place it this way, and I'm going to go ahead to pin. I'm going to go ahead to pin it all the way around, and when you're pinning, make sure you push your yoke in so that it's not going to stay in the way while you're stitching it. So there are two ways of stitching the upper part of a corset. You can go ahead and pin it. After stitching at the upper part, you're going to top stitch the 1/2 inch, that's the sewing allowance, down to the lining. Or you can decide to stitch up your whole dress and then notch it for it to relax. So I'm going to go ahead to pin all my dress, and I'm going to notch it for it to relax. So sorry that the video is a little fast. The video is actually too long, so I'm trying to shorten it so that it won't be too long for you. So I'm going to pin the sides, and after that I'll go ahead and stitch it up, and I'll leave the lower part and I will notch throughout. So after I'm done notching it, I'm going to go ahead to turn it to the right side. So I'm done turning, and the next step is just to go ahead and pin this down. I'll stitch the lower part and iron out my dress. So after ironing it out, this is what I have. So this is the skirt as we explained in our video where we were cutting it out. I'll go ahead to stitch the sides, and I'll fold the lower part of this, the lower part of the lace. And also for the back, I've cut it out, so I'm going to slit the center, and I'm going to sew the sides, fold the lace at the lower part also. So after that, we'll be joining the lower part of this skirt, which is the skirt, to the upper part of the dress, Now I'm going to place this skirt. I'm going to go ahead and notch the center and also notch the center of the skirt. After that, I'll go ahead to place it on it this way, and I'm going to trace the waistline of the skirt. So I'll use the marker to mark it out this way. You can use your tailor's chalk. So I couldn't lay my hands on my chalk, so I went ahead to use my marker, and I'll cut out the shape I have at that point. So after that, I'm going to place my skirt, and I'll go ahead to place the center at the center of the skirt, and I'll go ahead to pin it. So I'll just go ahead and pin it. After pinning it, I'm going to stitch my dress. I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch all the way. So this is my dress, and this is what it looks like. Next, we'll be working on the yoke of the back. So this is the yoke of the back. If you watched the video where I cut it out, I only added 1/2 inch on the neckline on the side and on this part and at the upper part, and I just added a little at the armhole and at the lower part. So I'll be stitching the neckline with 1/2 inch, this part with 1/2 inch, and this part also with 1/2 inch. But before going to stitch, I'll go ahead to pin it so that it won't shift, and I'll also stitch up the armhole. That is when we are done turning the dress. So this is the dress, and I'm going to join the I'm going to join the yoke of the back to this dress. What I'm going to do is to place, and I will use the back to flip it, and I will stitch with 1/2 inch at the upper part, and after stitching with 1/2 inch, I will stitch with 1/2 inch at the sides and go ahead to trim it off just like I did for the front. So this is it after I'm done stitching. Now we are going to attach it to the lower part of the back, and this is the back that I have cut out. So on the main fabric of the lace, I cut out a lining for it, and I also notched where the yoke will start. So on the lining piece, I cut out a gum stay for the wording. So now to join this, I'm going to take my yoke and I will pin it where the notch starts. So when we are drafting out our pattern, we notched that part, or that is where our nipple to nipple line is. So I went ahead to notch there, and I'm going to pin, and I'll stitch with 1/2 inch on that point. After I'm done stitching, this is what I have. Now we're going to introduce the gum stay with the lining. So you can laminate your lace, but this lace has stone all around, so doing that will be very difficult for me. So now we're going to turn this up with the doll face and the gum stay. Now I don't have any source of light right now. I'm just going to explain how to do this, and after that I'll go ahead to iron it and I will turn it out. So now I'm going to place this way, the yoke inside, and I'm going to place the right side of the doll face facing the fabric, the wrong side facing the gum stay, and I'm going to place. Now I'm going to pin and stitch with 1/2 inch all around this part. After I'm done sewing, this is what I have. Now I'll be joining the lower part of the skirt to the upper part of this, and I'll also repeat the same process for the other side of the back, and I will stitch up and attach zip to the dress. But before that, I'll place my skirt on top of each other, and I will stitch up at the lower part. I'll stitch up at the lower part, join it before I'll go ahead to join the other side. After I'm done stitching, this is what I have. This is what the back pattern looks like. Now we're going to go ahead to place our lace, and we're going to pin it and stitch it up. And I created a loop also at the back of this dress. So I've gone ahead to place my dress, and I have pinned it down. So now I'm going to place my tape starting from my underbust. My underbust is 12 inches. I'll mark. After marking that, I'll go ahead and mark my nipple point, place my tape and get my nipple point, which is 9 inches. And after doing that, I'm going to mark my waist, and after marking my waist, I'm going to measure 7 inches down, which will be serving as the hip point of this dress. So after marking all this out, I'll go ahead and I will insert all my body measurements on it. On the bust, my bust is 33 divided by 2. I have 16 and a half. So what I have here is 20.5, so leaving me with 4 inches. I'll share it on both sides at 2 inches at both sides. So on the waistline, my underbust is 28 inches divided by 2. I have 14. So what I have here is 17. Then 28 divided by 2, I have 14. That's 17 minus 14. I have 3 inches left. I'll share 1.5 at both sides. So what is on my underbust is the same thing as at my waist. So I'll go ahead and mark the same measurement at my waist. At the hip point, I'll go ahead and insert my hip circumference of 20 inches, and then at the knee point of my dress, to give my dress a fitted look, I'm going to go ahead and mark 1.5 inches. So that 1.5 inches is what I will trace down to the lower part, and after tracing it down, I'm going to connect all my dress from the lower part to the hip and down to the upper part of my dress. And after that, I'll just go ahead and stitch it down and show you what it looks like. So now we are going to go ahead to drape this dress. So I have 2.5 yards of net. This is just a net that you can get in the market. This is just a regular net. I got it for 400 a yard, so I have 2.5 yards here. But now we are going to go ahead and start with the center. Gather it at the center and you're going to pin. You're going to pin till you get your desired design or exactly what you have on the thumbnail. So after pinning this, I'm going to separate it on both sides this way. Then I'll go ahead to start pinning on this side. So I'm going to pin it close to the sleeve and armhole area. I'm going to go ahead and gather it a little at that point, and I'm going to go ahead to pin. Now I'll take it up to the sleeve a little and I'll pin it down. So to do this is best for your client to wear this dress and for you to pin. So I'm doing this because I'm the one wearing the dress and the mannequin is a little bigger than my size, but I managed to put the dress on the mannequin. So now I'm going to pin on the shoulder. And before I forget, this is what the dress looks like at the back. So if you notice, it's a little tight for the mannequin. So now we'll go ahead and start pinning. So I'm just going to use my pin to hold this down. After pinning on the other side, I'll go ahead and pin on this side also. I'll go ahead and gather it. Just make few adjustments and make sure that the rough part of the net, which is the lower part, fold it into it and gather it this way. So just watch to the end of the video how I achieve this. So if you have any question, please leave your question at the comment section. So in the next video, I'll be sharing with you how to bead this dress. If you notice at the thumbnail, this dress has a bead at the yoke and at the body. So we'll go ahead and we'll bead this dress also. Please don't forget to join us in our next video where we'll be doing the final look of this dress. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and join us in our next video, and leave any question that you have about this particular video at the comment section. Thanks. This one I beg you, I know get tired. Cover my face, calling me man wait to what's it going? You are coming, all depends. They get them, ride the foot. I know people die for nothing. What's it going? You are coming, all depends on who I am now. Yeah.